Hey, my name's Oliver and I'm a filmmaker and I run Quick Step Films. I'm specialised in directing, cinematography and editing.
My cold-hearted child, tell me how you feel. Just a blade in the grass, I spoke onto the wheel.
I mean, when I first started, I just graduated from engineering, and what happened was I got involved in doing an internship at a small production company in Oxford called Voices from Oxford. And what happened then, I was actually put in there to do a bit of helping out with the interview, and I then got to come and do an internship with them. And then one day we were editing, and it was that moment when you got this screen and you got all these pictures and these knobs, and I had a background in ballroom dancing, so I found that this combined my passion of engineering with dancing, with the rhythm, and it was all about making it look nice, and you had all this technical stuff which I actually studied, but now you're actually using it in an artistic way, and I really found that really interesting. So it really went from editing, which I really started off with, and then I learned about cinematography, and now I'm also involved in directing now. So that's where it really sort of started from the beginning. Then it was just sort of going from project to project to project to project, doing a little bit better every single time. So that's how it started. When I make a film, I'm never going to have behind the scenes. Being motivated is, I would say the most problematic thing as a filmmaker is the loneliness. At the beginning, for me, it was very much, you had this little handy camera and it was by yourself. I didn't know any other filmmakers or creatives, and it was very lonely. It was very, you're going out there, and because it's a creative thing, you're putting your emotions and your personality into it, and if someone sort of doesn't like it, you sort of feel a little pring. So I think the loneliness is really difficult at the beginning. So what really important I find is meeting other people who I can collaborate with, who I can just share stories with, or I can work together with, and that's what I'm really doing now. And I'm really enjoying it. It's bringing musicians in, talking to other directors, actors, sound recorders, and we can talk about it, and colour graders, and all these people, and they all put their input in creatively, and it's a group effort, and that's what I'm really starting to enjoy as a filmmaker at the moment. We've got 45 minutes of footage, and it's around 2 minutes in total, so it took us around an hour.
And it didn't take you long to put it together, did it?
I started at like 1, 2 in the morning, finished at 4, an hour this morning.
Wow, dedication.
There you go. My style of films, I would say, are very snappy. I like to get to the point of the film. I don't like to wait around too much. I like to get things going, keep it entertaining. So I like moving very quickly from a normal scene, and then suddenly it hits you, and then something else happens, and then you're reeling from that, and you're seeing how the characters deal with very, very quick, fast, emotional changes, hitting them, and then having to recoil from that. I like doing that. So in the 49, for example.
AA batteries. There you go.
It's just always about you and your toys, right? Okay, Rob.
Tia.
I have really something serious to tell you. What just happened?
I won't ruin the story too much, but they press the device and everything changes very quickly, and then they're reeling from that, and it's how they deal with that sudden shock of emotion, and then it builds up from that. So I like pushing, jumping from one emotion to the other in quite quick moments. It's very much she's the focus of the shot.
Yes, I can see what you mean.
And then in this one, he's the focus. But your eyes, because you go from left, he's talking that way, she's talking that way, so you always backwards and forwards. Influences, people who influence me as a filmmaker. I mean, there's some great filmmakers out there. There's the guy who directed Moon, source code. I think it's Duncan. I can't remember his name. And I mean, I like his stories. They're really original. I like directors who take a different way of showing a story. I mean, there's Danny Boyle. I recently watched his opening ceremony and I absolutely loved it. It was great. I mean, there's also, of course, the big films like Christopher Nolan, who've got the big budgets. I think the people who really influence me are the people I work with, because when you think of people like Christopher Nolan, he's directing Batman, it's sort of so far off where you know you start off as, you know. I think people who really influence you, the people you work with. I mean, that's who I find get inspiration from. The musicians who I work with, and the actors I work with, and other camera operators and sound recorders. The way they look at a film. That's what really influences me, I think.
That you're strong.
Well, I would say right at the beginning, that's the most difficult part, is right when you start, when you decide I want to be a filmmaker. And for me, I didn't know any other people filmmaking. You know, people thought I was mad to be doing what I was doing, because you know, you don't start off with a nice camera, you start off with a little shaky camera like this, and you call yourself a filmmaker. That's when you start off with. And I find that was the most difficult part. It was when you, especially if you got no way, if you just decide to do it, and you have got like friends doing it. It's like you got to go as quickly as possible. You've got to find people with the same passion as you. And even if you're starting off, you find a musician. You know, if you're starting off as a filmmaker, find a musician who's just starting off as well, and combine, and then find an actor who's just decided to be an actor, and then get them on board. So then when you get a little crew, you learn together. Instead of being alone, you like learning together, and you make mistakes together. And so in a year or two's time, that group won't be a start-off group anymore. Will be a professional unit. So that's my big advice.
30 degrees while the cat spins. Chunks of you will sit down to seals, blubber rich in